Hi, my name is Antonio Carlos and I'm from Minas Gerais, Brazil. Today I will present to you my project that was registered under the title Development of a Survival Game with Programming Logic Challenges using Unity 3D. But, for abbreviation, I will refer to it as The Last, since it's the title of the game itself. Now I will go to the contextualization part of the presentation. Since 1970, electronic games have been produced, but it was only after the 20s that the electronic games production became viable for almost anyone. Because since the 20s, um, the game engines such Unity and Unreal Engine and computers they become more accessible to the general public. And when this happened, since the 20s, we started to have the indie game development. That is basically one person or a small group of people that um, want to make a game together, and this is an indie game. That is a game produced by small groups of people or just one person. And this ends the contextualization part. Now we go to what we made and the difficulties we faced during the making of the game. This project started in March of 2020, and during the first months of work, it was focused on working with what the game would be and what tools we would use, such as define the game's style, its history, and its name, for example. And in this step, we defined that the game would be called The Last, and also that it would be a first-person game with elements of survival with elements of survival in general, and with the addition of programming challenges that were focused on logic via a minigame. And besides that, we also defined that our graphic engine would be Unity, since it's relatively light and at the same time it delivers a good quality. And together with Unity, we chose Blender for the 3D modeling part of the game. Furthermore, I must mention that the history of the game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world right after a war, and this war happened because the world was facing the lack of energy resources and also a power struggle where the human beings ended up destroying themselves and the environment together. And it is in this kind of world that the player will find himself in. And with this atmosphere and ambience we're creating, we plan to show during the gameplay destroyed places, but also we want to show the nature taking back its space. And all of this in the most immersive way possible for the player. And after we created the first parts of the game, and this first part was a bunker. After we had applied all the textures in the bunker, we decided to make the lightning of it. And in this part, some techniques are applicable. Sorry, and these techniques are the baked one, the real time, and the mixed lightning. The most used in games is the mixed one because it joins the two previous ones. However, due to our hardware not being powerful enough to use the mixed, we had to resort to using just the real time technique together with an elimination by emissive textures. Just a quick note, the real-time lightning is a system in which all objects in the scene receive lightning at the runtime, so the hardware is more required in the execution of the program and not in the previous rendering, which was necessary in our case. Now to the second part of what we have made. I want to say that during the 2021 period that runs from the beginning of the year in January to May, it was decided that an external area would be created, mainly because we needed an outside area to show how the world of The Last would look like. And to finish, I must point out that the player will explore the world decades after the war, where humanity is reduced to small groups of survivors who live with few resources. And besides that, I want to say that we didn't have many difficulties in this part because most of the difficulties we had happened on the part of creating the bunker, and when we did this part they were already solved, or most part of them were already solved. Now I want to talk about the environment issue and how the game connects with it. And in this image here is an image of an external area of the game that was taken during runtime. So this is actually how the game is looking right now. You can have a look at how it is. But taking a few steps back in the environmental issue, um, concerning the environment issues, I think that one of the best ways to convey awareness ideas and in general to impact a person on the environment is to show that to that person what can happen to the human civilization at the moment when we destroy our environment. Because if the environment is destroyed, the human civilization is also destroyed because we need it to survive and to thrive. And with that in mind, I believe that a game is a great way to convey this message because while the message is passed, the player is having fun with the game. That is, messages and teachings can be passed in a fun way and full of emotions, thus impacting the player even more. So this is basically how the last relates to the environmental issues, showing to the player in an interesting way the future of the world and the human civilization if we don't take care of the environment. Now I wanted to show to you our future plans involving the game. And in the case of the last, we plan to finish a demonstration of the game this year so that we can in 2022, sorry, we can publicize our work and create a crowdfunding campaign. Given that, and this crowdfunding campaign we will use to be able to finish the game because due to our hardware limitations, the game will at some point encounter an obstacle that cannot be overcome because of the limitations of our hardware. So the crowdfunding campaign will serve to improve our hardware and to make us capable of finishing the game. And now this is the end of the presentation, but before I end it, I want to show you some things we made. The first one in the left being the screen of the minigame of logic, of programming logic. And in the right, you can see an image of the elevator in the game. And the elevator can go from all the floors of the bunker. And this is basically it. I hope you all enjoyed the presentation. I thank you very much for your attention, sorry. And here you can have our contacts, our emails if you want to email us to ask some question or anything of that matter. And before I say my goodbyes, I want to um, actually say to you that we have a trailer that will play soon after I have my last words here. So I hope you all enjoy the trailer that is coming right away. And this is the end of the presentation. Bye bye.
This is Dr. Alice's Diary, Entry 1. I am in 2034. 2 years ago, some countries developed a technology that would be able to produce energy sustainably on a large scale. The countries that had the patents began to prepare militarily to protect the technology. That's why I'm here, a banker from the Brazilian government who deals with these researches. A few weeks ago, rumors about the big scam have started. Several countries claim that the new energy technology is, in fact, very contaminating. Today, we hear explosions on the surface. We feel tremors that shook the bunker. There are several dead and injured. A great war has started on the surface. I don't know what to do. This is Dr. Alice's Diary, Entry 4. It's chaos. With scarce supplies, some survivors turned on each other. I found a wounded man who worked with IT. He's helping me figure it out how to get out of here, as some systems are broken. This is Dr. Alice's Diary, Entry 15. 2 weeks have passed since the beginning of the war. I was forced to leave the bunker for supplies, and this is my second day in the outside world. The landscape is terrible. I can't even see the sun. The man who helped me in the bunker ended up getting seriously injured. I left him in a kind of hibernation capsule inside the bunker. It's an experimental project. but it was his only chance. I hope that when he wakes up, this disaster is over.
My God, what a disaster. How many years did I stay in that capsule? I hope there are still survivors. So, that's the village. But in the Alice's diary, she said that the wood was kind of destroyed. It's not destroyed at all. Where the hell am I? Who is there?
This is Dr. Alice's diary, entry 25. It's terrible. I've been out of the bunker for 10 days, and what I see is just destruction. There are no people you can trust. Anyone can be an enemy. Everyone just wants to survive.